Alright folks, let's talk about Spine. I've been following this game for a while now, and every time a new trailer drops, I get that familiar jolt of excitement. It's like, oh yeah, that game, the one that looks ridiculously cool. And let me tell you, the hype is real, at least for me. First off, the visuals are just stunning. I am almost sure it uses Unreal Engine 5.1. The Cyberpunk setting is right up my alley, and the way they've captured that gritty, neon-drenched atmosphere is just chef's kiss. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The gameplay looks like a beautiful blend of different titles. It's been described as Sifu with guns, and I can totally see that. The combat is fluid, dynamic, and brutal. You can practically feel the impact of every punch, kick, and gunshot. And those camera angles, it's like they took a page straight out of John Wick's playbook. The main character has even been called Johanna Wick, and honestly, that's a pretty apt comparison. Some have even said the game thumbnail reminded them of Eddie from Mass Effect. It definitely gives off some serious gun fu vibes, bringing to mind games like Biomutant, though hopefully with a bit more polish and depth. I have to admit, the cinematic flair of the combat is what really hooks me. It has been pointed out that the aiming might be fixed on enemies, with the player only able to switch targets instead of having free aim. There's also speculation that the dynamic camera angles might be scripted, either per encounter or per technique. If that's true, it could potentially limit replayability, but I'm hoping it's implemented in a way that still feels fresh and engaging on subsequent playthroughs. Although it has been observed that enemies appear to just stand there waiting their turn to get pummeled. One thing that has me slightly concerned, however, is the AI enemies. In the trailer, they do seem a bit passive, like they're just kind of standing around waiting to get their butts kicked. I'm really hoping that's just a trailer thing, and that the final game will have enemies that are a bit more proactive and challenging. The fact that this is coming from Neki, the developers behind Vector and Shadow Fight, is particularly intriguing. They've got a solid track record with mobile games, and this being their first PC release is a big deal. It's like they're taking everything they've learned from those titles and bringing it to a whole new level. I mean, anyone who has played Shadow Fight 2 and Vector likely knows what Neki is capable of. It is a shame that there is no blood and gore, though. I do not understand why so many games are afraid to add blood nowadays. The premise itself is intriguing, even if a bit cliché. Playing as Redline, a street artist fighting against an autocratic AI regime, definitely has that rebellious cyberpunk spirit. And hey, who doesn't love a good underdog story, right? And the main character design is just fantastic, very badass. While some are disappointed that we are getting Spine instead of a new Splinter Cell game, I am still happy to see this kind of game and fresh ideas in the gaming industry. Also, I must say that even if I haven't played these types of games before, I am really excited for this one. Look, I know there are still some unanswered questions. We still don't have a release date, which is a bummer, and some are saying there's still no real gameplay footage, but honestly, what I've seen so far has me hooked. It's refreshing to see a game where the gameplay actually matches the trailer's promise. I'm genuinely excited to see how this game evolves, especially since it's been noted that they've sped up the gameplay since the demo last year. It's clear that the developers are listening to feedback and making improvements. So, will Spine be the game of the year for 2025? It's too early to say for sure, but it's definitely on my radar. This game has the potential to be something truly special, a stylish, action-packed thrill ride that could redefine the beat-em-up genre. I, for one, can't wait to get my hands on it and unleash some cyberpunk fury. And based on recommendations, I might just have to check out Devil May Cry and DMC while I wait.